I am joined by Phil Brooks. You know him as CM Punk. Now you can see him as Ricky Rabies on the STARZ show Heels. It premieres August 15th. How you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Not too bad. And, you know, I want to talk about your character. You've shared a little bit over the past few months about what he looks like, teased a few things. Physically looks very different, what fans are used to from your wrestling work. There's no tattoos. There's the animal pelts. Where did the inspiration come from this character?
So you would have to ask Michael Waldron that, because he's the one who brainstormed Ricky Rabies. I showed up and saw that outfit and everything else, and I was kind of given free reign to figure out who Ricky was, where he was from. And really what I was thrilled about was I could get to do a little love letter homage to some people in my wrestling career that I shared locker rooms with that helped me out, you know, and the big one, you know, I don't even want to say who it is. Like, I want people to watch this show and watch Ricky Rabies, and they'll be able to figure out, you know, like I peppered it in with little Easter eggs here and there. So if you're a hardcore wrestling fan, and if you know what to look for, you're going to be tickled pink by Ricky Rabies, I think.
Yeah, and I think the important thing is I kind of had my own guess when I was watching it, and people should really, you know, check it out and make up their own mind. Everybody's done a really good job of like not really sharing too much about what it is. It's really something that you kind of need to sit down and watch for yourself. But it's really different from what people are used to seeing from you. Like, you have this established character from your own in-ring work. If you want to look at some of the other acting roles you've done recently, Girl on the Third Floor, it's very different from that, and Jacob's Wife. But as far as training for this role, can you talk a little bit about what went into getting wrestling ready? Because, you know, while it's not a full-blown preparation for like a wrestling run, and you did get in fighting shape for your MMA career, it's still taxing in a different way. Can you just talk about, you know, what went into that, in, you know, as far as like the physical work going into it?
Sure. You know, and I'll spotlight everybody else before I'll spotlight me. I mean, I still train. I work out every day. So it's not like I needed to, quote unquote, get into shape to be Ricky Rabies, because again, if anything, if I had the time, I would have gotten more out of shape to be Ricky Rabies. You know what I mean? To be more of like a Tommy Rich, to be, there's a million different guys that came in and out of Memphis that were my inspiration for Ricky Rabies, and none of them ever had abs or giant pecs or anything like that. You know, he's your typical Southern wrestler. You know, he could be a bad guy, he could be a babyface, but everybody on this show busted their ass, and I'm talking like lifting weights, doing cardio, getting into physical shape, but also in the ring. You know, everybody would be doing rolls, taking bumps, running the ropes. Everybody worked really, really hard. Chris Bauer, Kelly Berglund, Robbie Ramos, James Harrison. You know, like, here's a freak athlete who, you know, I watched him pick up stuff, and I watched him, you know, do stuff that a lot of pro wrestlers couldn't do. And this dude was doing it effortlessly. You know, like, everybody really put the ring time in to really respect pro wrestling. And I think that'll come across when fans watch the show. And really, when you weren't on set, when I wasn't on set actually working, you know, you traveled to the studio where they had the gym set up, and every single person was working out every single day. I'm talking like group workouts where they're, you know, we had a great trainer, Scott, who's kicking everybody's ass every day. And, you know, that was your work day if you didn't have anything to shoot. So everybody put the time in, worked really, really hard. It's very much less about me getting into shape than it is more about everybody else getting into shape. Like, Chris Bauer in the gym every day, kicking ass. I love to see it.
Everyone did a fantastic job on this show, but it's really worth pointing out James Harrison in particular. I really, really enjoyed what he brought to the show, especially because you consider there's the perception that, he's this big, intimidating NFL star and he's going to be a certain way. And he has some of my most favorite monologues in a couple of the episodes. His relationship you'll see with fellow wrestlers, and then you get to see a little bit more of his backstory of who Apocalypse is outside of the ring. And it's just really great to see that they didn't typecast him in that role. They didn't really beat you over the head with, wrestling references, but at the same time, it's a love letter to the sport. And there's all these things, like you can see that care went into it. Two other names that I know were involved were Luke Hawx, Chavo Guerrero. You get to see Luke on screen a little bit, but how much did you contribute as far as, making an authentic in-ring product, if that's the right way to put it? Like, how involved were you getting to feel things out in the ring and say, oh, maybe this should be this way? Or
Well, it started small, and I didn't want anything to do with it because my job was to be there to be an actor, but I've known Luke Hawx for decades, and then Stephen Amell, obviously being a big wrestling fan and me having a high level of respect for his acting ability. He has the same high level of respect for what I did in the wrestling business. So me being brought on, he was like, this is great. We got the guy here. We should pick his brain. And I was very like, no, guys, this is, that I didn't write these words. I didn't build these scenes. I'm not behind the camera. I'm not the director. I'm not the showrunner. And then the showrunner stepped in and was like, listen, man, you're the guy. This is your world. If you see anything, if somebody's dialogue doesn't seem right, like, you please let us know. We want this to be as authentic as possible, and we need it to be real, and we would be fools to not use you because you are here on set. And then I was like, all right, okay. But there wasn't much I had to, even suggest to do differently, but everybody just helped everybody else out, and I thought that was pretty cool. Like, they didn't need to ask me what I thought of anything, but they did. And it's not because anybody was trying to blow smoke up my ass. It's because they cared about this project and they wanted it to be the best it could be.
Yeah. And I got a chance to do the virtual scrums last week. I talked to Steven and I asked him, what does it mean to have somebody of your caliber on set and just make the show a little bit more authentic? And he put you over just saying, everything you've accomplished really adds to things. And it's really great to hear that, you had sort of that praise and see that they didn't have to, but they did. And it was a genuine gesture to make sure that the show is authentic, because you see how wrestling can be portrayed in media, and this show does not do that where it typically could be. So, I mean, is this something, like, I know that they're not renewed yet, but is this something that you could see yourself doing in the future, where you have a role sort of like Luke and Chavo do, where they were involved in, or I know Chavo was involved in Glow a little bit, but is this something you want to pursue, where you can sort of use wrestling in that way instead of just being an on-air character for a while?
No, yes and no, right? Like, I'm not here trying to take anybody's job. I thought Luke was the right guy for the job, and we shared a brain. Like, if there was anything he would ask me, I would normally agree with what his first assessment was. So, like, Luke is a guy who's been a wrestler for decades. He has the same instincts. He just didn't make it as far as I did in pro wrestling, but that's not for lack of trying. Like, the guy is as knowledgeable as I am, and he's the one that was there to put together all the matches for all the actors, and he did an impeccable job. I'm not trying to take his job. I'm very much more interested in doing more with Ricky Rabies. Like, we're all obviously crossing our fingers, knocking on wood, and praying to Jeebus that we get picked up for a season 2, because I think there's more stories to tell. but I would love to help out in front of the camera more so than behind it. But if they ask me, as long as Luke's back, I'd be back.
I know you did a Q&A a few weeks ago, and you mentioned this. You said that you kept all of your wrestling gear, and I know Ricky Rabies is a little bit different, but is that something that, did you get to take anything home from the set, or are you a memorabilia guy? Like, do you count this as a trophy?
And I think I definitely feel like as I get older, I'm more of a memorabilia guy. But man, memorabilia can get fucking expensive for the stuff that I like. I mean, I want horror movie props. But I never sold any of my gear because I think that's strange. I don't want somebody. I mean, I wore trunks. It's essentially underwear, right? Like, I'm not selling my Speedo to some weirdo fanboy on the internet. I don't care how much money they're offering. Because I just feel weird about that. But I have everything from my career. I mean, I may or may not have a few things of Ricky Rabies. I don't know. I'll just say allegedly, maybe I have a rat or two. And if you got to wait and see the show to know what I'm talking about. But I do have a Ricky Rabies shirt that the crew graciously gave me, and I wear proudly. And I got some Ricky Rabies stickers too, because Ricky was a big merch guy. He was selling stickers and T-shirts at intermission.
Yeah, you know what? I really hope that if something comes out of the show besides getting renewed, people love it. I'd love to see merch come out, because I saw a few people when they saw the DWL logo, they're like, yeah, I would love, I'd love a T-shirt or I'd love a hat. But like, if they can go that far with it, I think, that would catch on in another way and, kind of make fans excited in that way. But August 15th, it's premiere week, a couple more days until people can check it out. I know you said that there's a time-lapse video. I'll ask really quick. Are you going to release that soon as far as like applying the makeup? Because people will be shocked to know that you have no tattoos.
No, I 100% am.
Okay.
I think I'm going to wait until episode 3 comes out. I might shoot it out there sooner, but I figure Ricky debuts in episode 3. So I'll probably blast that on my social media sometime in the next 3 weeks.
All right. Sounds good. You guys can look forward to that. Check out the show when it premieres August 15th. And, thanks again for taking the time to do this. I know you've had some attention on yourself as of late. So, always a good thing going into a big premiere to have some more eyes on you. Check it out, episode 3. And as I found out, you also return for the season finale. So we get to see you a few times, and hopefully season 2 and beyond. Thanks very much for your time today.
No problem. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate the time.